Welcome to the culmination of decades of evil residences, all coalescing into one extremely convoluted and intensely long narrative that has almost as many characters as Avengers Endgame. RE6 takes the stakes to the global stage, featuring 4 campaigns and 7 playable characters. And, just to really throw some lemon juice on your paper cut, let's throw on some multiplayer achievements too. Tackling this monster is going to be a unique challenge, because each campaign overlaps with the others, so trying to get this to sound coherent in any way is going to be difficult, but I'll do my best. Don't ask me to explain why anything is happening, because I also don't know. The game itself will even lie to you at times, like how in the intro cutscene Leon aims his pistol at this helicopter, obviously telling the audience that it's an enemy, but later on we see that Leon is fully aware of who the pilot is and that they're on his side, and he won't even aim the gun when we actually get there. That cutscene I just mentioned is the tutorial, and the game forces you into it the moment you boot it up. I haven't even seen the menu yet, and I'm already being forced to play through the end of Leon's campaign. Each campaign takes about 5 hours to complete, so with 4 total, we're looking at 20 hours just to bang out the first playthrough. Luckily for you, there's definitely not 20 hours worth of story, so I'm going to give you the rundown quick and dirty style. I also will warn you now that I'll be telling this tale out of order, as I discovered something about halfway through the first run that changed the way I went about this game, but I'll talk more about that once we reach Chris's campaign. To start with, we go where the heart wants first, firing up the Kennedy campaign. Capcom spared no expense, hiring basically the entire cast of Critical Role to voice every character. I'll take this moment to remind you that this entire series started with a bunch of cops exploring some guy's house, a fact I'm calling back to for no particular reason, and we begin by shooting the president. Every character's been assigned a partner, each of which makes total sense. Leon, most famous for having an entire game centered around Claire, has Helena as his partner, a character we've never seen before and will never see again. She has one main line, which is,
"If I don't tell you at the cathedral, you may not believe me."
You may think that's an over-exaggeration, but the actual meat of this storyline will not progress until we reach this church. The only collectibles we need to worry about are serpent emblems, which are just the BSAA emblems from 5 again. If they didn't exist, you could 100% this game in about 10 less hours, but we do what we must. Leon starts by really slowly exploring this abandoned party, finding a guy looking for his daughter. We shoot our first serpent emblem and begin to follow him at an absolute snail's pace, finding the daughter who decides to jump scare us for some reason. Each campaign has its own style, with Leon's calling back to the horror roots of the original games. Unfortunately, that also means long cutscenes, forced walking sections, and no answers. Liz here gets a bit peckish, and we escape the parking lot and circle through the college to get outside. This game's advancement to combat is allowing each character to activate the craziest martial arts you've ever seen, with ammo not really being an issue anymore. We jack a car, driving for about 10 seconds before immediately flipping it and setting everything in a 20-yard radius on fire. We might as well speedrun me being miserable, so let's descend into the sewers. At least they're getting it out of the way early this time. Helena says her catchphrase,
"Let's just get to the cathedral."
And we push through the advanced darkness of the underground, freeing the spiritual daughter of the old lady from Dead Rising 1.
Oh God, Peter! Peter, hang on! I'm coming!
We head above ground, navigating through the city and finding some leftover survivors, eventually reaching a gun store and beginning our first holdout of the game. Once the area's clear, we make it upstairs, doing a second holdout section and heading outside to, God, you're good at guessing, a third holdout section. We climb aboard a bus, only to be attacked by the stave-puffed Marshmallow Man's corpse, and watch every survivor we just rescued die in front of us. I mess around with my dog tags to earn a couple easy achievements, and then head into Chapter 2, getting introduced to the overarching bad guy of this game, Simmons. The bus we escaped on crashes and explodes, and we fight our way through a graveyard, doing another holdout section before entering the church, where we can finally get some answers now.
You want to tell me what's down there?
It's better if I show you.
God damn it. The door to underground is locked, so we spend the next 10 minutes solving 4 different puzzles before it opens up, which causes the Stink Master here to pull up to the function. He turns every nearby survivor into a zombie, and we take him down, heading to the underground lab and finding a VHS tape dedicated to Ada Wong, showing her emerging from a cocoon, to which Leon has the normal reaction.
What the hell did I just see, Ada?
Obviously some weird stuff's afoot, so let's ignore most of it and continue deeper into the tunnels. We find Helena's sister down here, which leads to this interaction.
Okay, enough with the mystery. What the hell is going on here?
Let's just get her out of here. And then I'll tell you everything. I promise.
Once again delaying us understanding what's going on. This ancient structure that has enough dirt and grime to have been here for at least a century begins collapsing, and Deborah wins a Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award, slime included. Our first Avenger arrives, who also gives no answers, and Deborah goes full monster, preferring to fight au natural. Elena gives her a 5-finger send-off, and we see a flashback that shows Simmons is behind it all. After each chapter, we get a bunch of these medals, which are only required for an achievement later, so remember that they exist. I'm skipping through to the interesting parts here, so you might be surprised to learn we're 3 hours into this campaign already. Igor from Persona 5 talks mad smack, and we head deeper down, reaching the boulder representing Capcom's apology for Chris doing the big punch last game. We fall into Jolly Roger Bay, getting gobbled up by a big shark that seemingly just wants to take us for a ride. Swim at the slowest speed a human has ever swam, taking Bruce out for good. Simmons glasses the area, and Hunnigan cements her status as a real one, confirming that Simmons is leaving the country. She agrees to fake our deaths, and Leon says the same thing I told my parents after I finished digging the hole in my backyard.
We're going to China.
If you thought we'd be able to take a flight without a zombie outbreak happening, then you haven't been paying attention. This plane is gonna crash, but Leon's not going down that easy. Say hi to Ada as we hit the asphalt, and casually emerge from a plane crash right next to Sherry Birkin, the kid from RE2. This is another campaign overlap, but Jake isn't someone you know yet. He saves Sherry, and this game's version of Tyrant shows up, only this time he's not Leon's problem.
Welcome to the club.
Shoot him a bunch before a TV antenna separates us, and we're back on our own. We have to find 3 different keys to open the door forwards, but a new zombie type shows up which is basically a Lego regenerator. Once we're through the door, we run back into Ada, only she changed outfits since we saw her 20 minutes ago, and we hear different voices echo throughout this building. The mystery is solved soon enough, as we meet up with Chris Redfield, the first time Leon and Chris have ever interacted in-game to my knowledge. Chris wants to kill Ada, but Leon can't let that happen, cause he loves her, and Ada skedaddles, being followed by Chris and his teammate. That's every Avenger accounted for now, so let's head into our confrontation with Simmons. It goes about as well as you'd expect, before Simmons gets stabbed with something, causing him to be able to legit shapeshift. He's the first character I've seen be able to turn back into a human after using the cellular growth powers the virus gives you. We give him the business, and I'm surprised at how quickly he adapted to being able to dead sprint on all 4s. I feel like if I got transformed into a weird dog creature, I wouldn't be this good at controlling it immediately. I'm just gonna let this part play out.
Captain Wesker, where's Chris?
Stop it! Don't open that door!
And we dive into the water, climbing back onto shore. Surely the stakes can't get any higher.
Leon! Leon, where are you?
Chris, we're just outside of Tachi. Why?
Get the hell out of there!
Damn. We get multiple knowledge bombs,
And Jake Mueller.
Robert Wesker's son.
Wesker?
Ada Wong is dead.
and reach the same place as the tutorial. Just as I alluded to, this part plays out completely differently, as Ada's the one piloting the chopper, so we don't aim the gun at her. A plane falls from a building, causing the entire road to explode, and we jump aboard a chopper, and Helena makes the dumbest decision in this entire game. This entire series is about dead people coming back to life, so why on earth did Helena try and stop this dead guy from falling out of the chopper? We crash land into a building, dodging a falling helicopter and heading into our second battle with our old nemesis. Simmons is apparently built quite literally different, as instead of the dog form, he goes full T-Rex mode. We take him down, and Ada tells us to meet her on the roof. 10 seconds can't pass in this game without something absolutely bonkers happening, so this entire building begins to collapse, and we have to manually climb the rest of the way up. Somehow Simmons got up here without us noticing, and we help Ada take him down, who then breaks up with us over text. We reach the roof, where Simmons is still alive, so we shoot him a few times before he gets gobbled up by some zombies. But you know that's not the actual end. Simmons went from dog to T-Rex, and his final ultimate form is Really Big Fly, the most intimidating of creatures. We shove a lightning rod into a zombie, then make him absorb that zombie to kill him. Except of course, that doesn't actually kill him either, but luckily Ada left us a little parting gift in the form of an RPG. Simmons bleeds a ridiculous amount of blood and symbolically forms the Umbrella logo. Ada gives us all the intel we need to prove Simmons was the bad guy, since I guess we can't say he turned into a big fly in the middle of downtown zombie China. Helena gets reinstated, only to never be seen again, and we wrap up Leon's story. I hope you can understand now how I'm fighting for my life to make this digestible. No point in wasting any more time, so let's head right into Chris's campaign. Chris's partner, most famously in Resident Evil history, is obviously Piers. Chris is struggling with amnesia, literally not remembering anything about what he does for a job. Luckily for us, Piers manages to get him back in the field, or else this would be a really short chapter. Leon's campaign was centered more around the mystery and horror elements, and Chris is all about the action. Chris also starts in China, meaning we'll be traveling a lot less as Mr. Redfield. Bad guys here are tougher and have regenerative properties, but Chris is packing much stronger firepower than Leon did. Our goal is to rescue hostages in a building a ways away, so we fight our way through the city, eventually reaching the building and rescuing the hostages from these gross guys. Unfortunately, conveniently placed rubble strikes again, right as the building gets bombed by the US military, and Chris and Piers only just escape, except in reality, their internal organs are liquefied. We flash back to the mission that caused Chris's amnesia, introducing new character Finn, aka Peter Parker.
Yes, sir. I'll give this everything I've got.
We fight another giant, pushing through the city before meeting up with Sherry and Jake. A giant gets literally helo dropped in, and we take out all the anti-aircraft guns and the giant before heading into the town hall, where everybody and their grandma be up in cocoons. These cocoons produce hunter-esque monsters, and we meet up with Ada. We agree to escort her out, and about 5 seconds later she betrays us, causing all of Chris's men to turn into Zombatrons. Zombie Finn throws Chris so hard he smacks his head, causing the amnesia, and we now understand why Chris is so mad at Ada. Now remember how I said something caused me to change how I do this, and that I'll have to tell the story out of order? Well, that split happens here. I'm going to continue running through Chris's campaign, but just remember this as the moment things diverged. I'll come back to this point later. We return to China in the present, with Chris regaining his memory but being real mad about it. In the callback to all callbacks, our next major enemy is a giant snake, only this one can go invisible. Give Yawn 2 the shock of a lifetime, and Ada materializes out of nowhere just to turn this guy into a bunch of bees. Chris is somehow even more pissed now, but Ada's about to rip a jet ski, and this helicopter is apparently immune to grenades. I've been trying to hold back my personal feelings on this one, but this game is basically just glorified cutscenes, because you have almost no choice in any situation. You can't shoot down this helicopter because you have to get chased by it. Every scenario is like this, which just causes the game to feel like you're watching a movie where your only purpose is to hold the W key. Once the game allows me to shoot it, the chopper goes down instantly, and we just miss Ada entering a building that looks strangely familiar. We see Leon and Helena here, reaching the first overlap that we've now seen twice. Chris and Piers go after Ada in another sequence that you have no real agency in. You chase down Ada, but you can't shoot her, stop her, or beat her in any way because that would break the story progression. We both crash onto a boat, where these guys that look like Black Manta are waiting, and we fight all the way through, confronting Ada on the deck where she's immediately executed and splats on the pavement. Chris and Piers yoink a plane, shutting down the missile that'll turn China into zombie land, but our clairvoyance tells us it's not going to go how we think. We see the Leon scene again, then head out to rescue Sherry and Jake. We head underwater, busting them out, which obviously trips an alarm, and meet up with Jake and Sherry, where Chris confronts Jake about his connection to Wesker. I feel like whoever told Jake about his dad didn't fully explain the fact that his dad was one bird short of a cuckoo clock. They discover the cocoon of ultimate global destruction, which hatches into a big water skeleton monster. I'm not sure how this thing equals the end of the world, but we have to stop it. Piers better hope he's naturally a lefty, and we get to just chill in this thing's hand while watching Piers crawl towards the monster serum, where he then becomes a more electric version of Krauser. We take down Liquid ET, escaping the facility, only Piers decides he's not making it out. He's gone full monstro, so he sacrifices himself to let Chris escape. At least Piers has a reason for not returning later. We're 2 out of 4 now, and next up to bat is Jake and Sherry. Jake's campaign is all about the legacy stuff. Wesker, Tyrant, Sherry, all the things you've missed from the past. It starts with Jake injecting himself with the C virus, suffering no consequences, which cements his immunity to the virus, thanks to Papa Wesker. Sherry shows up and helps Jake escape, requesting his help, meaning this is the second time Troy Baker's been in a zombie game where a main character has the antibodies. Jake requests $1 gazillion, and we run into Chris during his flashback sequence, doing exactly the same things we already did. We get attacked by the Tyrant for this game, which is actually named Ustanak. We shoot him a bunch before our chopper crashes, and Sherry dies. Except she doesn't because she's also a special kid, and has Wolverine's healing factor. Kinda feels like they had a plan to make an Oops All Kids game that never came to fruition. This entire section is running around on a dark and snowy mountain, and it's honestly so boring that I'm skipping it entirely. After a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter, we escape on snowmobiles while trying to outrun an avalanche, landing in a snowy cave which just so happens to have Ustanak in it. He hunts off of sound and these weird bug things, so we stealth our way through and proceed to enter the section of ultimate QuickTime events. Have you ever wanted to smash your keyboard to open a door, then go through it, then close it behind you, then do that entire process 4 more times? Have I got the section for you? If you call now, I'll throw in spamming your keyboard 4 times to move a guy backwards 5 feet, free of charge. Despite our best efforts, we get captured by Ada and wake up in what might as well be heaven, which is apparently Chinese. We bust out of here half naked, meeting back up with Sherry. It's been 6 months since they got captured. They start to escape, except the thing blocking the way is a giant statue that requires ID medals to unlock wings of the building. The East requires 10 medals. Whose idea was this? Someone forgets their work ID so they can't shove it into the giant statue, and now 9 other employees just don't get to work that day? On our way out, the building gets crashed into by a literal tank. Seems a little drastic. Luckily for us, a room nearby has a sweet-ass motorcycle, so we hop on and tron away. We ride all the way to the next plot point, a helicopter that really wants to take us down, but Jake decides he's about to smoke and shoots the guy in the face. Remember this section for later, and fight through the city to reach the Leon overlap. Battle Ustanak again, with context this time, then hop aboard a raft and fight off the final evolution in Chainsaw Guy technology. We get the assist from Ada, reaching the meeting with Simmons before getting immediately captured and sent to underwater jail. We get busted out by Chris, passing the big cocoon and heading into a lava fight with Ustanak. Give him the WWE SmackDown, killing Ustanak the same way Jake's father died. Except of course, he's not dead. Now prepare yourself for QuickTime Event Central. With the power of love, shoot him dead, and Jake and Sherry decide to go their separate ways, with Jake throwing on the only thing he inherited from his father apart from the disease immunity, sunglasses. We're almost done, I promise. 1 campaign to go, and it's Ada's. This is the campaign that's supposed to start making everything make sense. Ada's been all around the world doing stuff, so she's the only one with all the answers. To put into perspective for you how difficult this game is to write for, Ada talks to Simmons in the opening cutscene and then fights her way non-stop through a sub for 40 minutes. Ada sees a report from Simmons 6 months ago addressed to her, only she doesn't remember it. She escapes the sub, saying hi to Leon at the cathedral and taking a shortcut into the underground, where she helps in the fight against Deborah and then views the Happy Birthday Ada Wong tape, realizing what most of you probably already know. There are 2 Ada Wongs. The Simmons we've been talking to isn't even Simmons, it's the other Ada, who's actually Simmons' assistant that he turned into Ada. If you're confused as to why he would do this, it's because he's a mega creep, and I'm sure you can piece it together from there. It's now up to Ada to clean up everybody's mess, and stop the other version of her from destroying the world. She heads to China, saying hi to Leon as he crashes the plane, immediately heading right into Jake and Sherry's boat section and saving them from Chainsaw Supreme. She then boards the boat at the same time Chris and Piers show up, finding dead imposter Ada, who isn't as dead as Chris thought. Fake Ada turns into a bunch of goo, which we promptly destroy, and then yoink a chopper and rescue Leon multiple times. Fight Simmons on the rooftop and break up with Leon over text, and destroy all the supplies Simmons used to make fake Ada, and our first playthrough of RE6 is done. If you're still confused, good, that's about where I am, but I can now finally pull back the curtain. That section where I called out something had changed earlier, that was because I figured out something while going to select Chris's Chapter 3. Each chapter is divided into subsections. Well, once you complete a chapter, every subsection of the next chapter is fully unlocked. This means you're able to run through only the final 5 to 10 minutes of every chapter, and it will fully count as completing the entire thing. Earlier, when I mentioned the split, I did that for every campaign, allowing me to unlock unlimited ammo early, which you may or may not have noticed me using. What that also means is the rest of this game is the easiest completion ever. Professional difficulty, I finished all campaigns in less than 2 hours. The game does have a similar amount of grinding to 5 for money and skill points, but if you run the section I mentioned in the Jake campaign on the hardest difficulty, you earn enough to max everything out in a couple hours. By the end, the only missable achievement I didn't have was getting 10 kills with every weapon, which just required me to load into each character's main fight section and cycle through until it unlocked. Once again, the hardest part of this completion is the multiplayer achievements, and this one is a mixed bag. There are 4 game modes this time, each of which has 5 unique achievements. Unlike 5 though, these are even longer grind-based achievements. Win 100 games of each game mode, beat 100 players, defeat 2,000 zombies, etc. These take a stupid amount of time to complete, and they aren't even hard, they're purely time wasters. I just booted up a second PC and played this in the background while doing anything else, and eventually got them all after an ungodly amount of hours. Thank God this is the end of multiplayer achievements, because they will not be missed. With multiplayer wrapped up, thus ends RE6, a game that I can confidently say is last place in my current rankings. Too long, no agency, and way too much multiplayer grind. Still, thank you for watching. This one was tough to make, as I didn't enjoy it at all, and my writing style is incredibly hindered by long stretches of action with no plot. RE7 is up next though, and I'm very excited for that one. Shout out to my patrons, Dixby, Jude, Alex, Matt, Spiralt, Muriel, and Raven, as well as all my other patrons. You make this all possible. Thank you. Someone better tell Aunt Rhodey, because I'm headed to Louisiana. I'll see you in the next one.